you all got a good night's sleep. If you weren't too tired this morning waking up. As I mentioned, I wanted to speak about charity today, because it's something very important at all times in our lives, and it's especially important at camp when you have many different people. We each have our own faults, failings, things that we like and don't like. And if we don't have charity, it can become very difficult to get along, because we can't expect peace to come from never having anything to put up with from others. If that's what we're looking for in this life, we'll never find it. In heaven, yes, there we'll have that kind of peace. But here, on this earth, we only gain peace of soul by learning to be patient with one another, to put up with our faults and failings, to learn how to forgive. So, charity, I wanted to speak of a few specific things so that we have a really clear idea what it means to practice charity. And that would be in our thoughts, our words, and our deeds during camp. When it comes to our thoughts, you know that we can sin by having unkind thoughts, uncharitable thoughts, or angry thoughts. If we give in to them, sometimes, yes, someone will do something that will annoy us or irritate us, and we suddenly feel like lashing out to them, and we have some angry thought pop into our mind, and that's not a sin yet. It depends what we do about it. If we try to overcome that thought and to be patient in spite of it, then there's no sin. In fact, it's a virtue. There was one time when I was in seminary, and there was another seminarian that I had a really hard time getting along with. I mean, not outwardly, but inwardly. It seemed like everything he did to irritate me. And then one time we were playing football, and I ran into him. And he got my knee in his thigh, and he fell over and he was groaning in pain. And for the next week, he was hobbling around on crutches. And I was thinking to myself, he's just making a big deal out of nothing. That couldn't have possibly hurt that much. Well, after a week, we were playing football, and another seminarian collided with me and did the same thing to me. And he was a big, tall, bony seminarian, and I had so much pain from that collision that I couldn't believe it. Every time I went to prayers, standing up from sitting, shooting pain going up the leg, or sitting down after standing, another shooting, burning pain. I couldn't believe it could hurt that much. And so, at that time, I realized how patient and charitable the other seminarian that I ran into had been, because he wasn't disturbed or upset about it at all. He didn't complain or blame me. So from that point on, I always had a great respect for that seminary. So God taught me a lesson there. When you're tempted to be upset, impatient in your thoughts. Try to remember that you don't always see the whole picture. You don't always know what is going through people's minds or what particular difficulties they have. By having kind thoughts toward them, you avoid yourself the sins of uncharitable thought and rash judgment, and it will help you to be outwardly kind to them. Now, in our words, kindness in our words, sometimes we forget how much a kind word can do. If you see someone who seems a little lonely during camp, maybe they're a bit shy, you go up and talk to them, get them to join in with something, and you might completely change their day. Or if someone if someone does something good and you say just a simple word of praise, sometimes we forget that, and so we do things and nobody ever thanks us or even a little word of praise, and that can be discouraging. But when you take the time to say a short word of encouragement, it makes a big difference. Also knowing how to say I'm sorry when you made a mistake, you hurt someone, and also knowing how to brush it off if you're the one who was hurt, not to be upset about it. There was a story I read about a boy it was in China, I think. It was somewhere, one of the missions, Catholic missions in Asia. And this little boy had come from a rough background. His parents were deceased, they died, and they had been brigands, robbers. All his other relatives were robbers as well. And when his parents died, he had no one, and the priest took him into the orphanage and instructed him. But he was about 7 years old, and the catechism teacher would often lose his patience with him, so he wasn't learning. And so the priest said to the catechism teacher, he said, well, this boy needs to make his first communion. The catechism teacher said, this boy, he is stubborn, and he doesn't know his catechism. He can't make his first communion. And the priest said, well, you'll see. So he assigned a blind man to teach the catechism to this boy. And the boy made his first communion. And he would lead the blind man up to the communion rail. The blind man would teach him his prayers. And in a short time, the boy became very good. Then an unfortunate accident had happened. Someone had some kind of shotgun or fireworks or something that had gone off. It went off and hit the boy's face. And he was terribly injured by it, and he was dying. In fact, the priest came to give him extreme unction. So the man that did it wasn't on purpose, but he came to apologize, and the priest brought him into the room. He said to the boy, do you forgive him? Are you upset at him? And the boy just said, no, why should I be? He didn't do it on purpose. So that's a very good attitude of forgiveness, something that we should all have. When it comes to kindness in deeds, that's something you can have many opportunities for in camp. Whether it's helping out, you see someone that's struggling with something and you offer to help them. It can be making sacrifices sometimes, suffering something that's an inconvenience to you in order to help others. We had about a month ago the feast of St. Maria Goretti, and I was reading a book on her life by a priest who had spoken at length with her mother, and he had heard all these stories from her mother. And I was very edified to read how they were a very poor family, and oftentimes they didn't have enough to eat. And St. Maria Goretti, she was a child, she was not quite 12 when she was martyred. And even as a child, 9, 10-year-old child, and her father had died, she stepped up and helped her mother with many things around the house and taking care of the younger children. And when they didn't have enough to eat, St. Maria Goretti would pretend that she was full, that she had had enough, so that she could save some more food for her younger siblings. And that would take a great amount of sacrifice, charity to do that. So think of these things during camp. Try to be kind to everyone, and especially your words and your actions. Don't, when you joke around, as I mentioned before, try not to take it too far. If you realize that you're getting on someone's nerves, just be willing to back off and don't push things to the point where you get someone irritated or upset. At the same time, you can joke around and play. It's good. I'd like to see all of you having fun together and being cheerful. It says in the front of your book, the advice of St. John Bosco, A plus B minus C. That's his formula to be happy and holy. A means cheerful, it's allegro in Italian, and B is buono, it's good in Italian. So cheerful and good, that was the secret of St. John Bosco. And minus C, so minus meaning no C, that's cattivo, that's bad in Italian. So be cheerful and good, and not bad. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of